Welcome to the Misophonia podcast. This is season 4, episode 24. My name is Adil Ahmad, and I have Misophonia. This week I talked to another Claire. This is partly a success story because she's found ways to work with her family and significant other to help her deal with her misophonia. This episode also is special because after I turned off the recording, Claire talked a bit about her bipolar disorder and how she wonders how it may or may not be related to her misophonia. I know a lot of us have other conditions in addition to misophonia, so I turned the recording back on to catch that bit, with Claire's permission, of course, and I hope that's interesting to some of you. A big announcement this week is that interview slots are now open for season 5. There are still some slots in September and October, so please grab one because they're going fast. I still have a few more amazing episodes left for the next few weeks, and then I'll begin season 5 with some pretty well-known names in the misophonia community. You can find the link to sign up through the website, misophoniapodcast.com, or look in the show notes. All right, now here's my conversation with Claire. Claire, welcome to the podcast. Good to have you here.
Thank you. This is so cool what you do here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Yeah, no, it's always a good time. So I always like to figure out kind of roughly kind of where are you located?
I am in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay, yeah, not super far in the Midwest. I'm in Minnesota. And what do you do over there in Cleveland?
I work for a local ice cream company. I manage one of their stores.
Oh, okay, interesting. All right. Yeah, well, season's coming up for that, definitely around here. How is that then? Ice cream, eating, slurping. I'm thinking, I love ice cream, but I'll probably go in and just run out with my ice cream. But you kind of, you're going to have to deal with that all the time. And you probably have to deal with that age group of, the high schooler or younger people who might not be super, super aware of sounds.
Polite.
Yeah. So, how things at work? You're the manager at least, so you can tell people what to do.
Well, I've been with the company for 7 years almost. And I love the company a lot. And the work is, it's actually really nice for me. So something that I would struggle with a lot is having an office type of job, where I'm sitting down and it's quiet and there's just other people around me working quietly. And in that environment, the sounds that irritate me really stand out. So in this type of environment, it's pretty loud. There's lots of freezers running, so there's lots of background noise. Yeah. We've got people coming in and out of the shop and people talking all around me. There's music playing. So I thrive in that environment when there's a lot of background noise. Also, when there are people making sounds that irritate me, if I know that there will be an ending to that sound, like if someone's eating ice cream loudly, I can say, okay, this is only going to go on for a little bit longer. I can push through this. So overall, things are pretty good at work. There's times when a team member will be scooping ice cream and I just hear them kind of bang their scooper on the, like trying to clean it off, and I can hear it from the office in the back, and I just go out there and I say like, hey, I have, I'm sensitive to sounds. Like, could you please not make that sound with the scooper? And usually that's no problem if I say something like that. So
do you tell them up front, or is it every time you go out there you're like, hey, I'm sensitive to sound, please stop making sound? Or do you just kind of like, do they kind of know by now?
Yeah, so I try to like bring it up in training when I train a group of new team members. Usually there's like some type of sound that will occur during training, and I'll just say like, okay guys, do you mind if we like move over to this area? There's a sound, I have a sound sensitivity disorder, and there's a sound that's triggering me. And, right. If you don't move over here, you're done. No, but I sort of strategically implant that so people know, and then they're
that's
usually,
really cool.
Yeah, really kind about it.
Yeah, we're there is there was a previous episode with Olivia, and she's doing a master's paper on misophonia in the workplace and how to make environments usually typically office environments, but this is kind of interesting how you're incorporating in this a little bit, at least in your training. Do you actually
Mhm.
use the name misophonia, or is it more just kind of your I don't know, you're suggesting they do things a bit quieter?
I say that I have a sound sensitivity disorder.
Hmm.
I should throw the name in there, so I'm
Just
getting it
more
out
for
there.
awareness. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
for misophonia awareness. I could say I have a sound sensitivity disorder. It's called misophonia, and um, yeah, that's pretty much what I say. That some sounds I can't tolerate.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, what you said earlier is yeah, it's also important about how you know your customers are they're going to leave eventually.
Right,
If for no other reason you're going to be closing the doors at night and they have to get out.
right.
But yeah, they usually they end up eating their ice cream and then leaving. So
Hmm.
that's an important. And it's good to yeah, you're telling your brain that it's going to be over and nothing's going to harm you and
Hmm.
try to fight through it.
Right. Yeah, that's, I think, one of my only, I don't really have many great coping strategies. That's one that's I'm able to tell myself and
Yeah.
I'm able to get through it.
Well, that's a great one. If you can do that without, having to resort to some hardware like headphones or whatever, or
Mhm.
throwing nasty stares at people,
Yeah, I
or
do plenty
announcing
of
it on the
that. Yeah.
PA speaker. So,
Right.
so it's okay. That's at work. What about maybe like yeah, outside of work at home? What's the situation there?
Yeah. So I live with my boyfriend and he is so understanding and he's so great. Like he couldn't handle it better. I mean, he knows that I have several things, several sounds that bother me, several triggers, and um, he will like he was just home and he took chips and salsa out onto the balcony and ate them outside without me even saying anything. Usually I just like we try to make jokes about it too, and my family was over. We were gonna have chips and guacamole last weekend, and he just went into our room and grabbed my noise canceling headphones and gave them to me in
Hmm.
front of everyone. And I was like, it's just funny. And, my parents and my brother are sensitive to it and very accommodating. So I'm really
Sensitive
thankful
to
for that.
your sensitivity, or they're also sensitive to
Oh,
sounds?
no,
Yeah.
sensitive to my sensitivity. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, that's no, that's great. And humor is a good coping mechanism in itself. That's another freebie. So that's good if you can make that work.
Yeah,
Um
for sure.
so when you first told him, like how did that go about? Like well, I mean, how did you find out it had a name, first of all?
Oh, misophonia?
Yeah.
How did I find out? Okay. So I know this is a very common age. I was 11 years old. um, in sixth grade. And I have a distinct memory of the first time um, a sound really irritated me. I had a friend over. We were working on a school project upstairs in my bedroom. And my dad, every night, used to sit in his chair downstairs, right below my bedroom. So I was working on this project with my friend. And because she was over, I think I was just like more aware of my surroundings. And um, I just started hearing my dad clearing his throat like over
Hmm.
and over. And I would just get distracted from our school project. Every time he did it, I would get distracted and really angry. And
Yeah.
I didn't understand it. And I just remember that being the first time. And then, I can think about too in school, just different sounds that would irritate me in class. And, I have a lot of visual triggers as well, like foot wagging. Like I remember a girl in eighth grade in Latin class who would just wag her foot every day, or her whole leg actually. And I just always had to block it out of my vision. So it wasn't until probably sometime in high school, I, did some research and found out about 4S is what
Right. Yeah, the
it
original
was.
OG name.
Yeah, the OG name, and I was just so relieved, like I was seen, and just felt understood, and I was like, wow, I definitely have this. So I remember going to my mom and telling her, and then I just like broke down to my dad because he had always cleared his throat in this way that was so insulting to me, and I never knew, that like I never had justification for my feelings and my emotions on it. So it just felt was such a relief to tell them, and to have it be known.
Yeah, and what was his reaction at that point?
Oh, it was just very understanding, which
Yeah.
again I'm really thankful for. I mean, there have been times like when it I kind of came out, that I had this, and there were times when my parents and family would be really frustrated with me because with your closest relatives and friends, like those triggers are often bother you the most.
Right.
And so they would get frustrated with me, because I was mad at them and always giving them nasty glares. But as time has passed, they're very understanding.
They're accommodating. You might still throw the glares, but at least maybe they know it's not like
Yeah,
personal.
they know what it
Yeah.
means. Yeah, not personal.
So yeah, that's interesting. I talked to a bunch of people, and it's like kind of like all over the board. Whether it creeps up in school, definitely. At home, it's always somebody who's doing it. But it looks like yeah. I mean, like at school, it was definitely you're definitely getting triggered. But also interestingly, the visual triggers started relatively early for you, I guess.
Hmm.
For a lot of people, that seems to come up a little bit later as things start to really blossom. Well, blossom in a not a good way for misophonia. But
Hmm.
did you find that it was maybe also affecting grades at school, or were you able to kind of somehow keep it at bay, at least in those years?
Um, I think it did affect my grades. There were other things that affected my grades as well. Just uh I yeah, I mean I had a hard time focusing in
Hmm.
class, definitely listening, retaining what was being taught. Um and in all throughout college, and I went to grad school. I graduated in 2019. Like I really struggled to I probably would have performed better if I didn't have misophonia and I wasn't so distracted and angry during class.
Okay, yeah. So you were just getting, yeah, just all through school, just getting really angry in class if you heard triggers, probably
Yeah,
exams too. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, exams for sure. I like right now just thinking of a Psych 101. I was sitting in class and my professor, he made a comment. He was like, wow, it sounds, he actually said like, wow, it sounds like everyone's doing a line of cocaine in here. Like he was, he was talking about everybody, how everyone was sniffling. It must have been like a really cold winter day. And he was a character,
Oh,
which is why he said that.
yeah.
But, like everybody, like so many people are just sniffling. I'm like, oh, can't wait to get through this exam. Like it's going to be over soon.
Right.
And that was my tactic is, okay, this is going to be over soon. I wish looking back, I wish I would have use some sort of uh, headphones or earplugs, or some kind of device to block out sound.
Did you ever go to see like a professional, like a therapist or audiologist at all during those years?
No, I didn't. I've
And
asked
what?
doctors about it,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What have they
but
said?
they didn't know about
Yeah, blank
misophonia.
stare. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
what is that? Yeah.
Yeah. There's also, and then when you try to, when you try to insist that you have it, it's like, oh, did you self-diagnose? And then they kind of tune out at that point.
Right. Right. Like
So
this isn't a real thing. I didn't learn about it in medical school.
yeah. And so during school, what about outside of like academics in term like socially, was it starting to, there was that girl, that terrible girl who was giving you visual triggers, but I'm curious if it kind of affected your, social life at all, maybe the types of people you became friends with.
Yeah. People who chew with their mouth open, um,
Right.
that is a
They had to
visual
die.
trigger as well as the sound. I could, yeah, that was really hard too. It's it, for that trigger, it's hard for me not to like attach a negative feeling to that person. Like
Right.
I really have to like try not to do that. And I guess socially, it's a lot of it has to do with the environment too. Like, not necessarily the people I'm with, but if we're in a place where I'm hearing these disturbing sounds,
Mhm.
I want to relocate or I want to flee. Like movie theaters, I can't. I really don't ever want to go to a movie theater again. Like if someone's chewing popcorn, I just can't handle it.
Yeah, those are tough. I mean, there's lots of sounds that happen in a movie theater. They're just kind of like, yeah, make it very difficult.
Right.
And okay, yeah. So and then, but do you tell your friends generally, like, do you bring it up? I'm curious, like, how many of your friends generally know about misophonia?
Yeah. I think all of my close friends know about it. I can think of a friend, one of my good friends, we used to work together, and um, she came in my office and ate her lunch, and she had carrots.
Yeah,
And I had to tell her, like, and I was like, hey, I'm really sorry, but would you mind eating your lunch elsewhere? I have misophonia, um, and this particular sound is really irritating to me. Like I'm sorry, it's nothing personal. Um, and she's a close friend, so she's known this whole time. Um, it's really nice to tell somebody before the emotion and the anger sets in and the
oh
glares
yeah,
start. Like it's always just so much better to say like, hey, I have this thing, like, and it's nothing personal. And I struggle with like when the sound happens and I react to it, like just feeling bad that I am angry at this person for something they're doing, even though it's not personal. It's a struggle, like getting mad at people, and it's not really fair that we have this response and this anger, and that we have to deal with it socially. It's tricky.
yeah, for sure. That's part of the kind of the shame and guilt that comes along with it.
Mm-hmm.
Have there been situations where you've really kind of like hung your head in shame and kind of regretted what you've said or done,
Um,
or you're able to kind of like keep it to thoughts in your head?
yeah, I haven't ever like. I mean, there have definitely been times where I've turned around in class and like glared at someone multiple
Right.
times, and then I
Yeah.
do feel bad because I'm like, well, I'm not giving them the chance to understand like why what I'm doing. I'm not
Yeah.
explaining myself, so they're just like, what the heck? Why is this girl just glaring at me?
Right.
Um, I do have one good um, interaction I had with someone in my grad school program. We broke out into groups, and so I was like in a group of 10. We had an assignment to complete and had about an hour to do it, and so we're all sitting, in this little alcove working on this assignment. And one of my classmates is chewing gum and cracking her gum, which is my number one. Like I can't tolerate it.
Hmm.
um, and I said something to her, and I was really proud of myself. I pulled her aside and I just said, like, hey, Lisa, like, I'm really sorry. I have this sound sensitivity disorder, misophonia. And the way that you're cracking your gum is irritating me, and I'm really sorry, but would you mind like spitting your gum out? And she was so understanding. She like was effusive with her gratitude for me for me like explaining this to her. She was like, hey, I'm so glad you said something. Like, I'm glad that I could do this for you and that you don't have to like be in the suffering anymore. Thank you for saying something. I mean, her reaction was like, I've never had that reaction
Yeah,
before, probably never will have that again. But um, it just, I've
that's great. Yeah, and
struggled to
you've
like come out and talk, like say something. And so to get that response was like encouraging, like I can do this again.
yeah, that's very encouraging. I mean, to anyone listening too, because it's come up a lot where we're like, at some point at some point in life, we're just like we just kind of give up on even mentioning it. We just kind of want to not talk about it because of the all the potential ways that conversation could go wrong.
Yeah.
So it's good to hear a case where it was very positive.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I think you approached it really well too. Just caught it early on, probably after the first crack of the gum, and spoke about it in a made sure that it was understood that it's not personal, but
Yeah.
that you would really appreciate it if it stopped. So yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And just pulling her aside, not saying it in front of a big group
Were you
helps
able to
too.
get accommodations from any of your schools that you were at? I'm curious if you ever talked to the professors or I don't know representatives at school to maybe get um, different exam time or I don't know some other accommodation.
Um, I never pursued any type of accommodation. Like I never approached a professor and let them know that I had this issue. And yeah, I just did never do that. I wish I had.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what about at work? So it sounds like you're a manager of this ice cream business. You had what have you kind of been your other jobs before that?
Yeah, I worked for a refugee resettlement agency after
Mm-hmm.
college. Um, I was only there for about a year and a half. I was in a social work role,
Hmm.
helping refugees come over into the States and helping with all aspects of that, like um, helping them find a place to live and get settled and start to look for a job and get in
Hmm.
ESL classes. So it was very rewarding, but very tough work. And um, yeah, it was good for my misophonia, I would say, because I spent some time in the office, but then I was also out in the field quite a bit.
Right, right. Yeah. Um, and what about just in terms of have you met other misophones in any of these situations, like at school or at work,
Ooh,
that you know of at least? I'm sure
um,
you have, but
I think, man, I can't I know I've met somebody else. It was a few years ago, and I can't even remember who it
yeah.
was. But my mom does have some triggers, just a few. And I remember her getting upset at a play because somebody was crinkling their like candy
Yeah.
wrapper down the aisle,
Yeah.
and she's just glaring and glaring and glaring. I'm like, Mom, what's wrong? And yeah, so she has some triggers, but that's the
This
only
was
person I really know.
after your this was after your dad through the walls experience or
Actually, before or around the
mm,
same time. So I didn't understand what she was, I knew she
mhm.
got mad and irritated with sounds, but I didn't really know what she was experiencing or what I was experiencing. Or um, I wonder if like is could I have gotten it from her? I don't even really know the answer to that.
Ding ding ding. No, no, it's no well I mean I was joking there, but it's not the first time that a parent or somebody else in the family has also had misophonia, and then
Mhm.
to some like lower almost lower extent because they just it's not talked about as much, especially in kind of quote unquote older generations. But yeah, I jury's out on totally out on that stuff, but that is interesting. It's yeah, I wonder if it maybe subliminally activated something where your and or part of your brain was starting to look out for similar danger sounds signs more because I do feel
Hmm.
like, and here's where I start to speculate, is it is kind of like some related to some danger sense of danger or looking for danger that we had like through evolution
Yeah.
and maybe kind of misfiring a little bit. But if you pick it up from, I don't know, somebody who was, for a large part of your life in charge of making sure that you were not in danger, maybe it is something that gets picked up or activated somehow. I don't know.
Hmm.
Needs to be more
Yeah.
research, but you can see how
Right.
you those dots can maybe be connected somehow. Um,
Yeah. She activated something and I just took it to a whole new level.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh man. So, okay, yeah, and so day to day. So these days, kind of like in when you're at the office in the um in the ice cream. So you've got you're generally not triggered, but do you have you got headphones on and whatnot, and or it's manageable there.
At work it's manageable.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, there's just the people um who are like really just chewing gum while they're ordering, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get them out of the shop as fast as possible.
right,
Yeah,
right.
it's really doesn't affect my work. That wouldn't be a reason for me to. I have no reason to bring it up with my boss or reason to look for another job. Yeah, I'm
Right.
thankful.
Have you thought about so you said doctors and whatnot have not known about it. Have you I don't know, is it to the point where you feel like sometime in the future you might consider going to see somebody about it um or not, or just kind of like deal with it since there is really no cure at this point?
Yeah, yeah. I would like to. I would love to see someone about it if I knew that it would help. I'm afraid of exposure therapy,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
really don't think that that's a good route for me. And but I'm open to seeing someone and getting help. I also I could do more. I could look into getting better earplugs. Or it'd be nice if there was some kind of device you could put in your ear that would emit some sort of white noise, or um, but that you'd still be able to hear everything you need to. That might
Yeah, there
exist, or
are. Right. Then
yeah,
you might want to, I don't know, you might want to check out an audiologist because they can prescribe these devices. Like I think Widex is one company where it's like basically tiny hearing aid looking things that emit white noise or whatever program it is
hmm.
into your ears to kind of take the edge off a little bit. I'm always like, might as well just, put a white noise track from Spotify or something through earbuds.
Yeah,
But yeah, there's those things too. I think I'm sure in the future there'll be like customized noise canceling where it in real time will take out gum smacking or what
yeah,
have you.
like your
I think that
custom
would be
triggers, you can
exactly
program it to take those out.
exactly.
That would be nice. I
So
do have a white noise machine. I turn it on in the morning when my cat likes to groom himself on the bed,
hmm
and it's the licking over and over and over. I want him
right.
there, so I just turn on the white noise machine, and it's works wonders. It's great.
Yeah. Do you use that also for other purposes? Getting to sleep or anything? Did you say snoring is a big trigger for you,
No,
or is it okay?
I don't really struggle with snoring. I do use
Okay.
it to help me get to sleep, and just to block out some noises outside.
hmm
Um, I'm not sure. I would imagine everyone is annoyed by like the lawnmowers that go off in the morning.
Leaf blowers, lawnmowers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. I'm about to do renovation of my house soon, later this year, so it's going to be quite
Oh
a
yeah.
thing. But yeah, so what do you do with that then? You just throw on the white noise, or you move to a different part of the house?
White noise, and well, the grass is just starting to grow, so I gotta figure out my strategy here soon. But I might At one time I did lay in the closet
Mm-hmm.
because it was
Mm-hmm.
dark and quiet, and I just made a little bed and it worked out.
Yeah,
Um,
whatever works. Yeah.
yeah, I also use the white noise machine in the morning. If I'm having breakfast with my significant other and there's bacon and toast and it's crunchy, and I'll just put that on and we'll put a show on, and then I'll put
Mm-hmm.
one of my earbuds in the ear that's like facing him. Um,
Right.
and that's plenty of sound to block out the crunchiness.
I wonder if there are groups in Cleveland for misophonia. It's kind of crazy. I was telling somebody I as a joke, I kind of started a next door group for misophones here in where I live, and like 20 people showed up are in the group next time I checked. So I'm sure there are people out in Cleveland who have misophonia. Might be interesting once all this pandemic stuff is over to have little meetups around the country. Um, of people who are sensitive to sounds.
Yeah, yeah, and we can all find some way to interact with each other where we won't offend each other with
Right,
our
right.
sounds.
It
But
works
that would be
surprisingly well at the
nice.
convention that happens roughly
Yeah.
annually. So, um, but okay, cool. Like I said before, you're not the only person who has probably not spoken about it with another musophone very very often. I'm curious, do you have any kind of words you want to share with people about things that I don't know have worked for you or things you've learned
Yeah. I guess I would
or not?
just
Or I don't
say,
want to put you on the spot.
yeah, no, I'm just thinking. I don't think there is any harm in telling someone about your condition, telling someone about misophonia. Um, and there's always a way that you can phrase it so that you're just being clear, just saying, like, hey, this is a disorder, not making it personal or emotional, and just saying, like, I hope you can be understanding of this. And I just think that coming out and saying that to someone, whether it happens before or after the trigger, um, it can just do a lot for you. It can be of great help for you. And I think it's better than not saying anything, um, because then there's, you know, you can get irritable, and the person who is making the offensive sound has no idea, and they might get upset with you, because you're glaring. So I think just approaching it in a gentle way, and just being clear. Um, I feel like there are it, it won't go wrong. I think if you handle it and approach it in a gentle and clear way. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, this is great. I think you're a great example of somebody who's found a way to kind of express it in ways that have gotten like great responses. Plus, you've been um, uh, very fortunate to have the people closest to you seem to be very sensitive. So that's been great.
Yeah, and I think if you oh, here's another coping. I can't believe I didn't bring this up, but like
Yeah,
um my family and I will, like, you can tell someone, here's something you can do that will help me. Um if I'm having chips, like my family loves salsa and guacamole. If I'm having that with my family, my mom like was teasing me, it was just all in good nature. She was like, okay, let's have a bite at the same time. So if I am crunching something with someone, I can't hear their crunching, and it sort of cancels each other out. So that's something that helps me greatly, is like um, just
that is true. That has come up. Yeah,
making the same noise at the same time. And you can do it with like sniffling too. If someone sniffles and I just do it right after them, it's weird, but somehow I distract like me making the
yeah,
sound myself distracts my brain from being angry at the other person for making that sound.
yeah. It's a real
Um,
weird phenomenon. Yeah,
And then one other thing that helps is if I know the sound is coming. So my boyfriend will say, like, okay, Claire, like, I need to clear my throat. She doesn't do it often, but he'll say, I need to clear my throat. And I say, okay, great. I just plug my ears. He does it, and then everything is fine. I don't get annoyed at all.
Yeah.
So if I know it's coming, and you can kind of train the people you love and who love you, um, tell them this is really helpful for me. Can you please help me by doing this? I think is a good way to approach it. I also think if you are triggered and angry and upset at all these sounds around you, and you aren't getting that out of your body somehow, that it will stay in your body and manifest itself in another way. Like, I think you either need to communicate how you're feeling to someone, or maybe you need to like go out and exercise, or you need to meditate, or just, let those feelings leave your body. Because I think it's harmful to just keep things
Unhealthy.
bottled up. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Great flurry of tips at the end here from Claire. Yeah, these are all great things that yeah, I've heard of these as well. The whole mimicking the sound somehow taking it away. I feel like it just comes down to like uh, the stress and the kind of danger, or just the aware interpretation that there's danger around. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're causing the sound and or you're being warned of some event, then that removes that sensation somehow. There's got to be
Yeah.
something there.
Yeah. I know.
Um,
It's bizarre.
yeah, it's got to get it into a pill, and then we'll all just take it, and it'll all go away. Well, Claire, yeah, again, yeah, thanks for all this. This has been great to hear what's been going on with you, and these great tips, and it's all it's really great to hear a success story. Sometimes there's a lot of a lot of dark moments, and so this has been great, and I wish you more success in being able to manage it at some level at least.
Thank you so much. And I wish the same for you.
Okay, now here is that extra bit of my conversation with Claire that happened after the main interview ended.
And I didn't really know like where to throw that in, but I know that a lot of people with misophonia have like another type of disorder.
Yeah, you know what? When I asked about therapists, I was going to ask if you had had any other kind of
Yeah.
comorbidities, and but yeah, I didn't want to like try to pry or
Yeah.
anything.
It's okay.
I mean, is that something you're comfortable talking about,
Yeah, I'm comfortable
or have you thought about
talking
how it
about it.
can? Yeah.
I don't really know how it relates to misophonia. There may be ways that you know how it could relate. I know that it affects like my mood in the morning. I'm very groggy and sleepy and irritable in the morning. I don't really know how else they are connected, but if had any sort of questions about that, I would be willing to talk about it.
Yeah, I did hit record again just in case we
Okay, sure.
yeah, while we're here, but yeah, I mean, I don't have any particular insights on how these are related, other than it's definitely not uncommon to hear about um like diagnoses for anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
OCD, bipolar, I
Mm-hmm.
believe too. And then because one reason is you're just able to get diagnoses for these things much easier than misophonia, which just doesn't get you anything
Yeah.
usually. And so in terms of links, yeah, I'm not sure. I can't say if there is a link, but um, directly, but it's definitely not uncommon to have some
Mm-hmm.
kind of overlap. Um, do you find they affect each other in any way? Like, if you're going through episodes of one, it kind of affects the other one, or
Yeah, well, like I said, in the morning, I take medication every night, and I take medication that makes me sleepy. So in the morning, I'm a little groggy until like the early afternoon. But even before I took medication, or was diagnosed bipolar. I have always just been so irritable in the morning. I don't know why. Like I wake up and I'm just the angriest person. There's probably one day out of the month where I wake up and everything's fine. And I feel great. And I'm like,
Uh,
wow, I won the lottery. This is my one day a month. But so in the morning I am especially irritable with sounds. Like almost anything will set me
okay.
off. Um,
Interesting. And what gets you out of that?
uh,
Just getting like coffee or just getting on with the
quiet
day kind of
time.
thing?
I just want to be in
Yeah.
solitude and um, maybe listen to something pleasant, some calm music, coffee, laying in bed for an
Hmm.
hour or so.
This sounds very familiar to me, so I'm wondering if I need to this is something I need to worry about here. Yeah. Do you and then on the other side of so bipolar is bipolar. Do you feel the other side of bipolar disorder as well at other
Yeah.
times?
So the morning irritability, I don't know how much that relates to actually bipolar disorder. It's just like morning
Hmm.
grogginess and irritability that I don't know where it comes from, but
But
yeah.
regular and extreme. Yeah. Okay.
But I do get highs and lows occasionally. I'm thankful I don't. I've been very stable and high functioning, but I do have times where I've been hypomanic, just not full blown manic, but almost, like halfway there, where I just have heightened sense of self and everything around me is exciting. And um, I would
Yeah.
say I am more irritable at that time as well. And sounds do trigger me more when I'm in that state. Um, when I'm on,
Oh, when
yeah,
you're in the
yeah.
hypomanic
I think
state.
I'm just
Yeah.
hyper aware of things that are going on around me. So I am
Right.
more aware. And for the flip side, for being depressed, I don't think I'm any more irritable than I am to sounds uh, when I'm depressed. So that's been my experience.
Gotcha. That's just yeah. Okay. So there's kind of three states. There's manic, depressed, and then morning groggy. Or morning groggy is kind of like a morning
Yeah,
funk
yeah.
depression kind of
I
thing.
just kind of have to shake it off every
Yeah.
day.
Okay.
Thankfully, I have a job where I work maybe one morning out of the week. And a lot of times in that morning, I'm able to be by myself and I can listen to music or not listen to anything. So I have a job that works well for me where I have most of my energy in the afternoon and evening, and I'm not irritable. So
Yeah.
that's good.
Did, did you get when you got the diagnosis for bipolar disorder, did you bring up the misophonia as well?
No, I did not.
Or no?
So when I was diagnosed with bipolar type 1, which is a little more severe than type 2, it was all that it was the focus of everything that was going on. I mean, I was hospitalized, and misophonia has always just been kind of like a
Mm-hmm.
side um, disorder that I deal with.
Yeah.
So,
Gotcha. Okay.
but yeah, I
Okay.
am
Yeah.
hoping to
All
address
right.
it
All right.
with the doctor in the future. I'd love to.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Well, I mean, yeah. Best of luck with all of that. Sounds like you're getting help for bipolar and are able to manage misophonia. But yeah, it'd be great to get some more help
Mm-hmm.
on that as well. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that because I know a lot of people have comorbidities. I don't think bipolar has come up as much, so it's good to hear your experiences with that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad I could share it.
Thank you, Claire. That was really helpful. I'm glad I hit record again. If you liked this episode, don't forget to leave a quick review or just hit the 5 stars wherever you listen to this podcast. Music, as always, is by Moby. And until next week, wishing you peace and quiet.